welcome to Orion Today. I'm Joe Johnson, and once again, I'm joined by Kim Urbanowski. Welcome back to the set.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy fall.
Yeah, are you like me? Do you just absolutely love this time of the year?
Yes, it's the best time of the year.
Yeah,
I get so
the
excited.
trees are just starting to change. I'm sure they'll be at their peak in just a couple of weeks, but we've had, I've always said September's weather is underrated because it feels like this is what summer should have been. It's like beautiful and like 75, and but I love when it does start to get a little cooler.
Crisp.
I sleep a little better.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know, there's something about walking in the woods at this time too.
Yeah.
Because you can hear the leaves and because they're starting to, get crunchy and all that good stuff. I like this time of the year the best.
Yeah. Do you have any like fall traditions that you and the family do?
Nothing outside of the ordinary, no, but I mean, I do like to take some sugar pumpkins and make, pumpkin pies from scratch sometimes, That takes a lot of time though. But yeah, that's a fun thing I like to do.
Yeah. Growing up, our annual traditions was going to the pumpkin patch and picking pumpkins off the vine, which was really cool, and going on hay wagon rides and cider and donuts. It's something I looked forward to every year, and we're gonna show you some video in a little bit that's become a local tradition here in Lake Orion and Orion Township. So yeah. We had a little, speaking of Halloween,
this is the best.
we had something crazy, I should say I had something crazy happen here in the office last week. I'm working late. I usually work till 9 p.m. here at ONTV, and I'm sitting at my desk editing, and I hear a sound, and I thought somebody had come in through our front door. And I go to investigate the sound, and at first I thought a bird had gotten into the building, and it was not a bird.
Nope.
It was a live bat. Now, it wasn't until Steven, our IT guy, saw the video, he said, "Do you realize this thing was flying over your head for a couple of minutes?" And I'm like, I was not aware of that. And so here's where I get up to investigate. I'm like, okay, is somebody there? And this thing comes right at me, circles around, swoops overhead. So now I'm getting on the phone with my boss, Ian. He says, prop open the front door. So I'm by the front door, and that thing flew right at me. It came out of the dark like a horror movie. And I am telling you, this is my genuine reaction. I was terrified. Now I'm doing the army crawl out the door. You should be impressed with this. I have no military training, but I think I handled it pretty well.
No, that's grace under pressure right there. That's amazing. Listen, I don't know how you did it. Did it get out? Did it go?
Eventually, I locked the door. I assume it got out. I never saw it leave. But when everyone came in the next day, there was no sign of it. So either it went out the way it came in or something. But
brave.
That's the biggest scare I've had in a long time. And that when I was at my office and that thing came in, it got close enough where I could see its little bat face, and my heart was racing. It was crazy.
Well, you know the phrase, it was probably more afraid of you than you were of it. Doesn't really matter, does it? Because that thing was all up in there.
Well, here's the thing. So that they say bats have sonar, radar, so they're not normally going to crash into you, but there's always that risk of rabies.
Yes.
And the way this one was acting, I'm like, I don't know if this thing has rabies or not.
Right.
So that adds another level of fear to the whole thing. So
and he looked like he was a good size too.
Yeah,
that was not a tiny bat.
Wingspan. Yeah. So Halloween is here, people.
Listen, it's ready for you. Are you ready for it?
I am. That was a good scare. Now I'm ready for the Halloween movies and everything. That's another thing I like to do when October rolls around is I pull out my, I own like 700 DVDs.
Yeah.
And so this time of the year, I'll pull out all my scary movies and watch those in October. I don't normally watch them the rest of the year, but come October, I can't get enough of that stuff.
I love scary movies too, but there's one that I love to watch at this time of the year, and it's called Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, I love that. I think horror movies are at their best when there's comedy mixed in. And that one is a perfect mix of comedy and
Yeah.
horror. It's Edgar Wright, I think, is the director on that, and he's done several movies with the same cast where they blend comedy and horror. But yeah, Shaun of the Dead is just outstanding.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
There's
We always
a-
make the joke of we're going to go to the Winchester, sit down and have a pint. You know, that whole thing that they go through. It's the best movie.
There's another movie along the same vein. It's called Tucker and Dale Must Die, I think it's called. Have you ever heard of this thing?
No.
It is such a unique take on the slasher genre, where these two buddies, they buy a cabin in the woods and they want to go fishing and hunting and do the manly stuff, but they're mistaken for two creeper loner slasher guys. And so there's like a bunch of college kids out there, and everything's a misunderstanding, and they're like, no, and it's a really
Nice.
great twist. And if you get the DVD, there's a bonus feature on there where they cut together everything that the college kids witness that make them look like
Oh, sure.
legitimate slashers, but in reality, that's not what they are at all. And they're like, no, we're friendly.
I'll have to look for that.
That's a good one. And my all-time favorite movie to watch this time of the year is Fright Night, which came out in 1985.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away when it came out, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies. And I've met several of the cast members over the years, including Jerry Dandridge, played by Chris Sarandon, and some of the other cast members.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think he was one of the best movie vampires of all time.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good one too. I haven't seen that one in a while.
And then one of the movies that kind of started the whole comedy horror genre, you got to go way back, is when Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But they also meet in the same movie Dracula and Wolfman, and then a little cameo by the Invisible Man at the end. But you know, it's interesting, when they did the movie, Abbott and Costello were like, just give us a paycheck. No one's going to come see this thing. And it turned out to be their biggest hit.
Isn't that wild?
It was huge, and started a whole chain of movies where they met the Invisible Man and they met the killer Boris Karloff, and so they realized that when you blend comedy and horror, it's box office gold.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it ticks all the boxes. I love it. I love it.
Do you have any other like horror movies you'd like to watch this time of the year?
So honestly, one of my top 5. I don't know if you'd really consider it a horror movie, but it's definitely on the scarier side. Silence of the Lambs
Oh,
is
that's
one of my. I won't turn it off. I love that movie so much.
that movie messed me up.
Oh,
First time and only time I watched it, I was shaking.
Yeah.
I was literally shaking.
I was watching it one time with my oldest, like for the first time. This is going to be, listen, we're going to introduce you to one of Mom's favorite movies. This is going to be great. And in the scene, in the basement, we're watching it, the power went out.
Oh,
And it was like,
Sitting there in the darkness.
I didn't plan that. But it was really, it was pretty cool. It was like, don't move, don't move. It felt very much like the movie. But
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite movies.
Now, if someone were to ask me, what's the scariest movie of all time? For me, hands down, it's The Exorcist. I think The Exorcist is the scariest movie of all time.
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser? I don't know if I've ever seen that one. But I've seen The
like that.
Exorcist twice, and I sleep with the light on after watching it.
Yeah,
it's
that one too.
terrifying.
I think like some of the stuff from like early like 80s and 90s horror is like pretty good.
Yeah.
Some of it's pretty wild, but it's Hellraiser for me. I can't. I hear the voice of that person and I'm like, nope, we're done.
Now, one of the movies that kind of kick-started the whole thing was Halloween, which came out in 1978, I believe. And when I was in LA a few weeks ago, I made an effort to visit some of the filming locations. So a lot of those homes that are in Halloween are in Pasadena. And
Okay.
so you can find, Laurie Strode's house and the famous hedge
Yes.
where, Mike Myers is peeking out
Peeks
from
out,
behind
yeah.
the hedge. One cool thing is there's a scene in the movie where Laurie's walking down the street with a pumpkin in her hand, and then she sits on this concrete thing and waits for a friend or something to show up. And the homeowner leaves a resin pumpkin on the corner stoop there that Lori sits on, so that you can recreate the photo. She does it as a courtesy to people who want to sit where Jamie Lee Curtis sat, holding a pumpkin on their lap. I think that's really cool.
That is nice, because conversely, I've seen video of the guy that lives in the house that's the Nightmare on Elm Street house.
Yeah.
And he does not really like people to come and take pictures in front of the house.
Yeah,
so
as a matter
really
of
cool.
fact, we did go by that house, and he's put up a lot of greenery so the house is unrecognizable.
Yeah.
That's to deter people.
I mean,
from
I can
visiting.
understand that, but
I don't know. You buy a house with a history like that,
you're right.
you got to kind of expect gawkers,
yeah,
But
comes with the territory for sure.
and I think that would be fun. I would embrace it. I would have, Freddy Krueger in the window all 365
all the
days.
time,
That's
all
right.
the time. Little legs sticking out of the window in the door like the mom.
Now, earlier we were talking about annual traditions. There's a couple of annual traditions that take place here in Lake Orion, and two of them fell on the same day, this past Saturday. The first one was the Fall Festival of Family Fun at Camp Agawam, and then later that night was the popular Zombie Walk in downtown Lake Orion. I was there for both of them. I shot video. I had a blast, and here is the video I put together.
The first day of autumn landed on Monday, September 22nd, but Lake Orion residents got a head start over the weekend at an event that celebrated all the things the fall season has to offer. On the afternoon of Saturday, September 20th, carloads of families arrived at Camp Agawam to take part in Orion Township's Fall Festival of Family Fun. Visitors arrived early for the free event to take a wagon ride to a pumpkin patch where they could roast marshmallows and make s'mores. Vendor tents offered games and crafts. There was a petting farm, food, and a whole lot more.
Absolutely happy with the turnout. We had customers in the parking lot waiting for the event to start about 45 minutes before the event started. So, yeah, that's a huge compliment.
Orion Township purchased the former Boy Scout camp in 2014 for just over $1 million. The 140-acre property offers lodges, campsites, trails, and beach access to Tommy's Lake. In 2018, Orion Township celebrated the camp's 100th anniversary by building the Kaboom Playground.
Camp Agawam is near and dear to me. When the township decided to save it from development and keep it as green space, I think that was probably one of the best decisions for Orion Township in the last 15 years. It's just amazing that we have this kind of green space in our community available to us. And of course, it is the perfect place for a fall event because look at the trees. Look at this, it's just perfect.
Next up on the calendar is the Made in the Mitten Art and Craft Show, scheduled to take place on Saturday, October 4th, beginning at 10 a.m., followed by the always popular Boo Bash, scheduled for Friday, October 17th at 5 p.m. Both events will take place at the Great Lakes Athletic Club on Baldwin Road. For more information, visit orionparks.com. If you happen to be passing through downtown Lake Orion recently, you may have been surprised to see The Walking Dead roaming the streets. There's no need for alarm. The annual event has become the unofficial start of the Halloween season. On the evening of Saturday, September 20th, approximately 30 participants gathered outside of Ed's Broadway Gift and Costume for the annual Zombie Walk in the downtown Lake Orion area. Some arrived early to have makeup applied, and at 8 p.m., the March of the Living Dead was underway.
No brains here. Move along.
One thing I will say is I never know how many zombies are going to show up because we don't sell tickets to it or anything like that. Fortunately, we talk to all the different restaurants and they work with us, and also the American Legion, and then they like this year, Irish Tavern, Sick Pizza, who took over 313. They put some appetizers out for all the zombies, and everybody usually buys a drink or two from them. And then we get down to the American Legion, and the same thing there. They, also, have food for all the zombies, and then people get a few drinks there. And then on the way, we just kind of zombie walk down the street and everything.
Started in 2014, the event began as a birthday celebration for Lloyd Coe, owner of Ed's Broadway Gift and Costume. Lloyd and his wife Kathy decided to turn it into a fundraiser, benefiting the Orion Lighted Christmas Parade. Money is raised through registration fees and an optional 50-50 poker run.
It's great. It's another different part of the community coming out and supporting something that the community loves. A lot of these people have been in our Christmas parade, different costume characters and stuff like that. So it's unique, and what's even more unique, like you and I are standing right here and we're watching all these people go by going, what's a zombie walk? Or they look and, you know, some of the zombies follow them around. So I mean, it's a lot of it is just fun.
Not only do Lloyd and Kathy Coe raise money for the parade, they also provide costumes for the dozens of characters that appear in the popular events.
What Lloyd and Kathy Coe have done is they've made the parade because of them getting the costumes that we need. They research it by going to Disney World, from what they tell me, to research it, to find out what characters are needed. They find the people, they bring them in, they get them lined up, so that way they know who's going to be what during the parade, and we couldn't do the parade without them.
So those are a couple of fun events that are growing in popularity every year. Now, we mentioned in the story the Zombie Walk is a fundraiser for the parade. The date has been set. It's Saturday, December 6th at 6 p.m. And Bill there, who's the president of the parade group, they're already lining up bands and all that stuff. So they're ready to go.
Excellent.
And then, of course, every year, the night before the parade is the Holly Jolly Folly, which is the big fundraiser for the parade.
So much fun.
If you want to attend that, if you want to support the parade, visit OrionLightedParade.com for more information and to support the parade. It's huge. It's gotten huge.
Yeah, it's the best parade. It really is.
Yeah.
It's the biggest on the planet. If you ask him, if you ask Bill Cocanos, he'd tell you it's the biggest lighted Christmas parade on the planet. And I agree.
right.
I agree with him.
Now, joining us now, we have Bob Smith and Randy Stetson from the Veterans Memorial and the VFW Post 334. And we just recently were at the Veterans Memorial for Patriot Day, a beautiful ceremony. You do a great job, Bob, leading the presentation there. And it's nice to see the turnout we get there every year for that event. And it goes to show how the memorial has evolved in its 30-year history to be able to hold ceremonies like that and Memorial Day. And there was even a wedding in 2017 that took place at the memorial. So, you want to specifically promote something that's coming up soon? Let's talk about that.
Well, before we start, I'd like to put in a plug about the parade. I was in the very first lighted parade.
Yeah?
We had a fire truck, a garbage truck, and a little band. And it took about 10 minutes to go through town, if that. So
that's awesome.
It's really evolved. It's really a great time and everything. So.
It is.
But anyway, just had to throw that out there.
That's amazing that you were in the first one. See,
I
it's
was
awesome
there,
because
too.
you were there. Yeah.
I
that's
shot
right.
video of the very first lighted parade. I remember the year before, which was 1994, I think, was the last daytime parade, and it was poorly attended, and like you said, it went by maybe in 10 minutes. The following year, they decided to go to the nighttime parade, and they gave everybody little generators to light up a string of lights and everything, and people came out and lined the streets, and that's what we've been doing for 30 years. Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
So the memorial, like the lighted parade, the memorial has been embraced by the community and has become a gathering space. And so, coming up on what's the date? October 4th, Saturday, October 4th. You're going to invite people to the memorial. Talk about that.
Well, October 4th, we're going to invite people. It'll be from 9 to 2. Coffee with a veteran. This year, we're going to be offering cider, which is from Yates. I don't know who's getting it, but somebody's getting it, bringing it there. And we have a donuts, and if you chit-chat with our veterans. So.
Yeah, that's, you know, as a veteran, talk about what it means to you to be able to talk to members of the community and share your stories. What does it do for you as a veteran?
Well, I hope that it gives the people an idea what a veteran goes through when they go through training and then they go into combat, especially combat. And combat is not funny. It's a serious situation. So I did what I could for my country, and I hope that the new guys that are moving in, they're doing their job too. So
Yeah. Now, you fought in Vietnam?
Vietnam, 68, 69. I was, I was a combination of radio and recon. I was in the 11th Air Cavalry Com. So.
Now, something I've discussed with other Vietnam veterans is, at the time when everyone returned home, they weren't warmly received. But that attitude has changed over the years.
Yes, it has.
You want to talk about how things have changed over the decades?
He put it quite well, didn't he, that we weren't?
Yeah, we weren't. They didn't like us, and they shouldn't blame us. They should blame the politicians, not
sure.
us.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we were hollered at, yelled at, spit at, you name it. Everything was going on against us. So it's got to the point where, am I home? Or maybe I should go back,
Yeah, right.
It's more peaceful back in the war.
Yeah. The bizarre thing about it is that you didn't choose to go there. The draft was still in effect at that time.
Right.
So how can you be angry at people who went not necessarily by choice to fight in this conflict? So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Very unfair.
So.
Even the military or the VA, when I first got out in '74, they treated us poorly, very poorly. I had a doctor's appointment at 10:30 at Allen Park. I didn't see the doctor till 4:30 in the afternoon. And it was for a bad knee that they didn't want to do surgery while I was still in because I only had 3 weeks left. So they wrote it up that way. And when I got there, so at 4:30 when he called me in the office, he says, "What are you here for?" And I says, "Well, it should be in my medical records that I got a bad knee." He says, "Yeah, you walked in okay though."
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So, and just recently, I started going to the VA for a problem, and totally different.
It's different. My dad is a Vietnam vet as well, and he, is at the VA quite often, and he said it's so totally different.
Yeah.
So totally different. Like he gets really good care now. Like
outside each of the rooms that you'd go into for whatever you're there for, there's a sign that'll say, "If you haven't been seen in 10 minutes, please come in and let us know."
That's right, yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So I mean, that's a lot different than getting in there at 10:30 in the morning, not seeing anybody till 4:30 in the afternoon.
That was
So
unfair. Yeah.
But now, it's completely different than the experience you had back in the 70s where, when you take part in a parade, the streets are lined with people cheering you on.
Yeah.
I imagine wherever you go, people thank you for your service. Talk about what you experience as a veteran in the community today.
Well, I try to give back to the community. I like to do things for them. I like to do things for the vet. I don't know if you got any ideas, or Bob?
no, everywhere you go anymore, they embrace it. You'll see somebody with a Vietnam veteran's cap on, and you got one on. You're walking up to them and "Welcome home, brother," and all this. But besides that, I mean, I got young people coming up to me and thanking me for my service and stuff like that. And
I have that, a lot.
I got I'm very patriotic, so I got a T-shirt that says I may be old, but I have a DD-214, so that makes me, So I had a young waiter come up to me and ask me, what's that DD-214 stand for? So I explained it to him and stuff like that, where, before they wouldn't even want to talk to you or anything.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't even know what Vietnam is.
Right.
Never even heard of it.
Yep.
What's that,
Yeah.
And then you have to tell them,
Yeah.
And that's what I think Randy and I are both here, to not let anybody forget or try to explain to them what it's about and stuff like that. The 9/11, anybody that was born after a certain age, it's a history to them. It's something
Yeah.
they learned in school. Vietnam is the same thing as when we were in high school learning about World War II
Right, yeah.
and a little bit of Korean, but now people, that's all they know. And it's not a fun thing to talk about. It's very sad, but at the same time, you want people to understand that it did happen. You can't erase it from history.
Yeah.
Well, history really is storytelling by people that experienced it, right?
Right.
And passing down that knowledge.
Yeah.
History doesn't write itself. I mean, you have to have people to tell the stories about.
Yeah.
There are different ways to look at history, and from this perspective, and it's nice that your perspective is actually getting as opposed to how it was when you came back. It's more widely shared and heard, which is good.
And, you want to get that out there because how we were treated when we come back. Because if we ever have another conflict, like Iraq, then we don't want those young people to come back and have the same situations we had. And everything.
Definitely, yeah.
Something that I observed personally that just makes you feel good is the VFW but hands out poppies basically for donations.
We look for donations.
And a year or so ago, I needed some video of you guys doing that, and so you're stationed at Kroger and other locations and the Veterans Memorial, and so I'm there to shoot video, but I'm observing the interactions you're having with the community that come by and make a donation for a poppy, and I get emotional when I see it because it's an opportunity for them to thank you. Talk about when you're handing out poppies, those interactions that you have.
I have people that, of course, thank me for my service. My dad was in Vietnam. My mother was a nurse. I've had several war stories from guys that stood there for almost a half an hour telling me what's going on, and I already knew what was going on because I was already over there.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah. So it must be nice to have people express their gratitude now.
Before we run out of time, though, the big reason we're here is for the Coffee with a Vet, and people can come up there. But we also want to let you know that between 12 and 2, we're going to do the flag ceremony. We're going to be retiring flags. Randy told me today we got close to 300 already.
we got over 300 now.
Over.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they can bring their flag if they have one that's tattered or bad. Bring it.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of it.
Yeah, that's one thing we really want to stress to people. If you have a flag that's been flying out in front of your home and it's tattered and torn, don't throw it out.
Yeah.
Don't use it to wash your car. There's a proper way to retire the
Right.
flag. How is a flag properly retired?
Do you want to tell them, or you want me to tell them?
Okay. Well, it's changed a little bit, but normally if it's a cloth flag in that, it's a burning ceremony where we'll go up and we'll drop the flag in, we salute it into the fire, and then. But as of late, the nylon flags create a hazard to the environment. They're not outlawed for burning them, but we've taken the proactive VFW and other veterans groups said, we're not going to do that anymore. What we're going to try to do this year, and I'm saying this without even talking to the group yet, but I thought maybe if we got it, the one way you can retire a flag is to cut the blue and white stripes off the red and white, or blue and white stars off the red and white stripes. And then once you separate them, it's no longer a flag. So this year we'll see if we can do something like that for people who do bring nylon flags, so we're going to keep them separated.
Oh, wow.
And there's also, in researching this, I also found that there was some big box stores like Home Depot and that will take them and recycle them. I checked our area local Home Depot and they don't, but if you do a little research, you might find somebody that could recycle them and that. But at the same time, you don't ever want to throw one away. You're showing disrespect to the.
Right, they have to be retired in a military manner.
Yeah, right.
So there is a place to drop it off at the memorial, correct?
Yes, there is a box there. It holds probably maybe 10 flags or so, but but we've got a young man that goes up there just about every day and he cleans it out. I say young man, he's only, what, 80 some years
Bob
old.
Watkins.
Young
I
fella.
was wondering who you're talking about. I was like, are they talking about
That
Bob?
guy does so much. It's unbelievable.
does.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bob, I wanted to touch on this. This will be our last thing, but I was just at the memorial recently where a local business, KT's Mobile Dog Grooming, arrived at the Veterans Memorial to make a check donation for $200. And what I don't think people realize, the memorial is pretty much done as far as adding things to it.
It's a living memorial. So.
Yeah, and there's ongoing care and maintenance, and Bob Watros is the manager of the park, and there are expenses to that, and so I'm sure there's some video of them making the donation to the memorial. There are expenses, ongoing expenses, and so I'm sure the memorial appreciates the smallest gift just to kind of keep things going.
Anything, really.
Yep.
We'd be happy to have anything.
Yeah. So for more information, you guys have a website. It's OrionVeteransMemorial.com or
Yes.
.org or
.com.
.com, and you have a presence on Facebook. The VFW Post 334 has a presence on Facebook. So yeah, if you want to reach out and help support the Veterans Memorial, there are multiple ways to do that.
Or
And,
just come on up and walk around and see what's up there.
And talk
Yeah.
to some of the vets there.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And come out on October 4th. It's a Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon. Bring any old or tattered flags you might have and sit down and have a chat with these guys.
Yep.
They have some stories to tell. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
well, thanks for coming out, guys. I appreciate it.
Well,
Well,
thank
we
you.
appreciate you having us. So,
always good to
Absolutely,
see
yeah,
you.
we appreciate it.
All right. Well, the Lake Orion High School varsity football team has stumbled out of the gates. I believe they are 0-4 right now. And unfortunately, a lot of their varsity players graduated last year.
Turnover like
And
that,
so a
yeah.
lot of young players on the varsity team this year. And so they just hosted West Bloomfield on Friday, and that did not go the way we were hoping. But here's our ONTV's Joey Tysek to give us the local sports report.
Hello and welcome to the Lake Orion Sports Update. I'm your host Joey Tysick, and today we will give updates on the fall sports season as we highlight boys soccer, flag football, and varsity football. The Lake Orion boys soccer team has had an up and down season so far, as they have struggled a bit in their league matchups and had some inconsistencies on offense. The first two games of the season were both OAA Red Division opponents, so they would have challenging matches right out of the gate. In their first game, they went on the road to face off against Berkeley, where it definitely looked like the first game of the season for both teams, as neither offense could get going and the game would end in a 0-0 tie. Following this, they would go on the road to Troy, who was one of the better teams in the Red, and fall 1-4. Finally, Lake Orion came home for their first home game of the season against Auburn Hills Avondale, who is in the Blue Division of the OAA. Lake Orion got on the board first, as Austin Negri just barely got one over the goalie, as they did get a hand on, but had enough on it to get through for the goal. That would be the only goal of the first half, and in the second half, Lake Orion would get their second goal with 26 minutes to play behind Nick Marlette's header off of a corner kick. Damian Saldana would put in the third goal for Lake Orion with 14 minutes to go after Avondale couldn't clear the ball and Saldana fired it just under the crossbar where Avondale's goalie couldn't get to it. Not too long after, Cameron Maxwell hit the quick kick off another corner to put the Dragons up 4-0, as their corner setups had been looking great all night. Then Lake Orion got their fifth and final goal from JP Piccarelli, as he saw an opening to the goal as the ball got bounced around and he attacked the opposite side of the net. Now with a win under their belt, Lake Orion looked to keep up that play as they had two more home games. The first was on September 2nd when they would beat Utica Eisenhower 1-0, followed up by an important OAA Red Division game against Rochester Adams. This September 4th match would be another dogfight. Lake Orion was able to pressure Adams a lot early as they had plenty of shots on goal, but Adams' goalie had some good stops and Lake Orion had a few kicks that just barely missed. The first half ended at 0-0, and the second half both teams were hoping to get that first goal of the game. That first goal wouldn't come to be until 22 minutes left in the game, when Lake Orion's Joey Gayton redirected a Marlette kick after the Dragons had the corner set up. Adams believed the goal was offside, and so they received a yellow card for arguing the call. Either way, it seemingly gave Lake Orion the boost they needed as their defense held up and once again shut out a team at home to win 1-0. After that, Lake Orion would travel to Clarkston for a tough game where they would fall 0-5, but then would bounce back in their following game against West Bloomfield to beat them 5-0. Then finally, they played a home game against Troy Athens on September 16th, who is one of the best teams in the state. Lake Orion had a chance to make a statement in the red. Their defense has been a strong suit of their game, and besides a couple games, they've held teams to low scoring or shutouts. Lake Orion started the game well, and their defense came to play as once again they went into half with a 0-0 tie. However, coming out of halftime, it didn't take long for Athens to get a goal. Only 8 minutes into the half, they knocked one in to take the 1-0 lead, and that would be the only goal of the game. Lake Orion fought hard against a tough Athens team, and it shows Lake Orion can hang with the best. Right now, Lake Orion's record sits at 5-3-1 with some meaningful games left to play. ONTV will be covering the upcoming Oxford game this Thursday if you are unable to attend in person. Go Dragons! Lake Orion and the OAA have begun a girls' flag football season this fall. This is the very first year and is a trial run to see how it fits into the sport's schedule. If all goes well, it could become an official OAA and MHSAA sport, as there continues to be interest in this sport. This is the third year of bringing flag football to girls' sports in the state of Michigan, and some rules are a bit different than the varsity game, but has created a lot of excitement so far. Lake Orion's team is comprised of mostly freshmen and sophomores, so there's plenty of room to keep improving. The Dragons are coached by Derek Delzer and Eric Merschart, and they mentioned there was so much interest that they needed to have tryouts for the team.
We started out with over about 60 girls coming out for the team. Then we had 3 days of tryouts. We ran through a combine of both physical skills and also skill work, and we narrowed it down to 40.
Yeah, so right now, a lot of the 6 schools that are participating right here in the fall, we're trialing this season. When you take a look at opportunities for a lot of our girl athletes up at the high school, the fall is lacking for a lot of opportunities for them. So by adding this really gives them a chance to come out and show their skills, especially on a Friday night in Lake Orion. Can't beat it.
So far, Lake Orion has been quite dominant in their games, and the game against Avondale was no different. They are proficient in their run game and quite good defensively. It's always tough with a new sport as many of the teams are still learning, so it can lead to one-sided games, but this sport has a ton of potential in this league. ONTV will also be covering the flag football game on Friday against Troy Athens before the varsity game. So once again, if you are unable to attend, then you can see the replay on our website or YouTube channel. And finally, the varsity football team. It's been a rough year for the Dragons so far, but it doesn't mean that they haven't fought. They've been in every game that they've played, but just haven't been able to finish out a complete game. Week 1, they played Northville at Wayne State and had a missed kick and missed opportunity after recovering an outside kick in the game and would lose by 1. Week 2, they played Stony Creek, and it was their first home game. They got on the scoreboard first with a defensive touchdown, but then stalled out the rest of the half, finding themselves in a deficit. They mounted the comeback to be within 2 points of Stony Creek late, but once again the mistakes were too much. With 4 minutes to play, they lost the ball on a fumble, and Stony Creek immediately scored. The following drive, Lake Orion tried to press just a little too much, and Anderson Adams threw a ball off balance and sailed just over his receiver for an interception to basically end the game. Week 3, they traveled to Rochester and once again were up in the game and just let Rochester get a late score to win the game 21-23, leading to back-to-back tough losses to OAA white teams. Week 4, they were back home against West Bloomfield and had a great first half. West Bloomfield is a big team and sit atop the OAA red at the moment, so this was another big game for the Dragons to get back to good football. Lake Orion was able to hang with the Lakers for a while, and were giving West Bloomfield a lot of trouble as Lake Orion's defense looked fired up for this game. Unfortunately, they couldn't keep that pressure up in the second half, and West Bloomfield ran away with it a bit. Lake Orion has now transitioned their offense a bit into a read option style offense, and they also changed a few of their schemes on defense to try and get a grasp on their season. This week, they get the rivalry game against Oxford, which will surely be another classic. Oxford comes into the game at 2-2, and Lake Orion is still looking for their first win. They really could use the momentum of a win, because in the following weeks, they play Clarkston and Rochester Adams on the road. 2 top-tier teams that Lake Orion needs to beat to make it into the postseason. For even more Lake Orion sports, check out our YouTube channel for our full game coverage. Visit youtube.com and search for Orion Neighborhood Television. Also make sure to catch all of our replays Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 7 p.m. We'll see you next time.
So, yeah, the varsity season's not quite going as we had hoped, but I do have to say, and Joey mentioned this in the piece, that prior to the varsity game, the girls played their second flag football game of the season, and they are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
They were passing and running and just looked fantastic out there.
We were setting up, because we feed the band after halftime and stuff, and we were kind of, so on the other side watching it. It was really exciting. That was really cool.
So talking to the coaches and some of the people involved, and I wasn't aware of this, apparently they had been playing girls flag football in the spring for a couple of years, but there's talk of moving it to the fall because a lot of the girls have spring sports that they take part in, and they want to play football.
Yep.
They said the argument against playing in the fall is it's hard to get coaches because they're all tied up in other leagues.
Yeah.
But they're like, come on, we can find
someone,
coaches and teachers to coach that. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and the girls had a blast. And, we've been covering the Powder Puff football game for years during homecoming week.
Yeah.
I think it's a great opportunity for these women to get out there and play on that,
get them, girls.
that turf.
I love it.
That was awesome. And speaking of homecoming, the game is scheduled for October 17th, that Friday, which means the weekend before, that Sunday the 12th, is a parade in downtown Lake Orion. So you got the parade on the 12th. There's homecoming activities throughout the week. Powder Puff football, usually on that Thursday, and then the big game on Friday. So let's hope they kind of salvage the season and get a win on homecoming.
Maybe they'll get their footing underneath them and be good for homecoming.
Yeah. And, obviously these kids are going to be getting the experience they need that hopefully they can take it into next season and bounce back.
Well, like you said, there's a bunch of, seniors that graduated and they have to, they're working through. They're working through the younger kids. And a couple of years will be good.
So, a relatively new program that has started here at ONTV is Open Mic Night, and that's been enormously successful. And basically what that is we open our studio to local performers and talented musicians to come in and record themselves performing and singing, and I'm blown away by the level of talent that we have here in the community. And there's one video in particular, I wish I remember the name of the performer, but it has like several thousand views when we uploaded that video to YouTube. So it's really sort of catching on. So we're going to give you a little sample of Open Mic Night. Here is the Schulert duo from ONTV's Open Mic Night.
I wonder where you wanted
So yeah, like I said, lots of talent come through these doors, and if you play an instrument, if you sing, if you want to read poetry, recite poetry, whatever you want to do, you can do it right here in this studio. So visit our website, orionontv.org, for contact information if you want to get involved with what we do. Now, you said there are some upcoming things in the community. And now, I don't want to step on Becky's toes just yet. She's put together this week's Quick Hits. But let's quickly talk about the Friends of the Library book sale going on as we speak.
Yeah, it starts today. I think today is the preview for the members of the Friends of the Township Library. You can be a member, and I think it's like $10 or something to be a member. But that's today. So I'm leaving here and I'm going over there to see what they've got. I love to buy books from them. It's such a good way to, first of all, recycle.
Sure.
Number two, you can get a bunch of books for fairly cheap, right? So, and it supports the library and all the programming that they do. So, yeah, that's happening this week. I usually volunteer for it, but there's something else going on that's keeping me from being able to volunteer this week. So,
yeah, one time I went to one of the Friends book sales, and I had a stack of books, and I go to check out, and they're like, that'll be $5.
I know.
And I'm like, per book? And they're like, no, for the whole stack.
It's ridiculous.
And I said, can I make a donation? Because I felt guilty. It was like $1 a book.
Right.
And so I gave them a little extra to the cost. So,
well, and I know that there are like people that will come in and they'll buy the books and then they'll donate them back. So
that's awesome.
Then you get more money for it. But I think it's like 50 cents for a book.
Yeah.
For like a regular book, a soft
Best
book.
Deal in town.
It is, really. So.
And speaking of which, not to toot my own horn, but I was at Second and Charles, which is the resale book place over by the mall there. And as I bought a DVD, and as I was checking out, they said that they help stock those free lending libraries.
Yeah, the little free libraries.
And so they were like, do you want to buy a book and then donate it for the lending library? And I'm like, what do you got? And so they had them all on display, and I saw a Dolly Parton book, The Coat of Many Colors. And I said, I love Dolly. So I bought the book and donated it for the lending library.
But that's appropriate because that was big for Dolly, right? Or is big for Dolly. She still donates a lot of, like, literacy was a big thing for her.
Exactly. So yeah, so not that I want to plug Second and Charles, but that's a great cause to help stock those lending libraries for children who can borrow a book and put in a book and that sort of thing. So maybe you can do that. Go to the library, get a couple of books at the sale, and then maybe stock up the lending library.
Maybe do that.
Yeah. So there are other things going on in the community over the next week or so. So Becky has put together this week's Quick Hits. Let's take a look.
The Orion Township Library is having their used book sale this week. Stop by the library for some great deals on some great books. The sale will be happening all week long during regular library hours. For full details, visit orionlibrary.org. Come cheer on your Dragons this Friday as the varsity football team takes on the Oxford Wildcats at home. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. Go Dragons! The Gowling Buick GMC Super Cruise will be taking place this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event will take place at 1491 South Lapeer Road in Lake Orion and will benefit the Orion Veterans Memorial. All makes and models are welcome. Don't miss apple cider pressing this Saturday at the Wint Nature Center beginning at 2 o'clock. This is a great opportunity to try your hand at grinding apples and pressing cider. Register by calling 248-858-0916. On Saturday, October 4th, the North Oakland VFW Post 334 invites you to join them at the Orion Veterans Memorial for coffee with the vet and a flag burning ceremony. This family-friendly event runs from 9 a.m. to noon. Coffee, cider, and donuts will be provided. Registration is now open for ONTV's Wildwood Film Festival. Local filmmakers are challenged to produce a 10-minute video in less than a week. The kickoff is Thursday, October 16th. The movies will be shown at the Oxford 7th Theater on Wednesday, October 22nd. For more information and registration, visit orionontv.org. Looks like there's a chance of rain on Wednesday, but drier weather is on the way. Wednesday's forecast is calling for showers with a high of 71 and low 59. Partly cloudy on Thursday with a high of 70 and a low 53. Mostly sunny on Friday with a high of 75 and low 54. Sunny on Saturday with a high of 78 and low 52. and sunny skies again on Sunday with a high of 76 to low 49. Well, that's it for this week's ONTV Quick Hit. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
So much going on in the community. I know
As always.
I'll be at the Gowling Super Cruise. It's the last big cruise of the year. And maybe I'll get to show off my new Mustang convertible.
Oh, that's right. I think you
It's
should.
new to me, but it's
It's
2014,
nice.
but I really love it. And
She's pretty.
yeah, my previous Mustang had 186,000 miles on it, and even though it was still running good, it just needed a lot of cosmetic fix-up. So figured I'd get into another one. I've had it for 10 years. I had so much fun in it. I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
let's let it ride. Let's
Right.
get another one.
So I have a soft spot in my heart for a Mustang because my uncle worked at the plant in Dearborn.
Oh, yeah.
100 million years ago. So, so I fully support you having a Mustang for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and so the Gowling Super Cruise, I think, kicks off at like 8 or something in the morning and goes till maybe 1 or so. And maybe when you're done at the Gowling Super Cruise, Heritage Spinning and Weaving in downtown Lake Orion is celebrating what year? Their 25th
Wow.
anniversary in downtown Lake Orion. So they're going to have an open house all afternoon. So maybe you can swing by
Good for
and
them.
say hi. It's a nice little hidden gem there in
It is,
downtown Lake
yeah.
Orion. It's pretty awesome. And then they have the little bike thing out front where you can lock up your bike right over. They usually have that decorated with
Yes.
some woven
Yeah, I
yarn
like that.
thing. Yeah.
That's cool looking.
Another thing you mentioned is going to be happening this week is America in Bloom is coming to
Yes.
town. Talk about what America in Bloom is.
So a couple years ago, the township started participating in America in Bloom, and it's a national symposium that brings together sort of experts in the field of like horticulture and arborists and things like that. And you have people that advisors that come to your town and sort of look around and talk about all the wonderful things in your community and things that you can do to improve your community as well. So we've done that. 3 years now. Well, wait, 4? Oh, I don't remember. Anyway, we told them sort of a first year we would love to host it here in Orion. We want it to be, there's a tour that happens. Hundreds of people come from across the country, people who are, Parks and Rec from other communities or, elected officials or, all those people that make their communities what they are. And they're coming here on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now the symposium itself is going to be held in Rochester at the Royal Park. But we're hosting the tour. So all these people are going to get on buses and they're going to come here. They're going to see, Wildwood. They're going to see downtown Lake Orion. They're going to see the lumber yard. They're going to see the amphitheater, Friendship Park, all the things that make Orion amazing. And then on Saturday, they're going to do tours too. They've got some people coming back to see the game at the Miracle Field. So it's just highlighting all the really cool things about our community that, that we've been showing in the videos that you guys have been helping us produce every year.
Yeah, so this is the third year that we submitted a video for America in Bloom's YouTube video contest. And not to toot my own horn, but beep, beep. We won the first 2 years, and we're going to see if we get the three-peat this year. But the funny thing is whenever I show anybody the video, even people who live here in Lake Orion, when they see the video, they go, I want to live there.
Yeah.
It really shows off what a beautiful community we have. You mentioned downtown Lake Orion. What Pink Nicks is doing with those urns on all four corners in downtown Lake Orion, it looks absolutely amazing. Friendship Park looks incredible. Not only Miracle Field and all that, but they have those raised garden beds that people take care of. There's butterfly gardens and pollinating gardens and
on the trails
and
everything.
Pocket Park. If you haven't seen it yet, there's a new Pocket Park at Baldwin and Pasadena Road. And I was there a couple of weeks ago to shoot video, and it looked absolutely spectacular with all the wildflowers and benches and picnic tables.
So that we have that park partly because there was a CN grant that we won through America in Bloom.
Yeah.
So our participation in this program helps with those kinds of things, and also when you're coming into Orion on Joslyn Road at Brown Road there, all of those plantings that happen there, it's the same thing. So because we've been participating in it, that's, some of that money for those things come from this program.
Yeah.
So we're going to show all those things off.
And the videos that have won, there are cash prizes with that.
Yes,
that, hopefully
absolutely.
get reinvested into making this community look spectacular.
Yeah.
Really proud to live here. The community looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So we'll be showing it off this week, won't we?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And I do want to give a shout out. I mean, there's so many people that are involved, but Julia Dalrymple and Sam Timko and Jenny Body. And then Connor and Parks and Rec, everybody has been really, really putting into this. So it's a lot of hard work, and they've been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Really good job.
Yeah, it's an amazing community to live in. I mean, and of course the centerpiece of it all is the lake. And there's something about lake living, and people just are wired differently out here.
I agree. Yeah. I do. Yeah.
I mean, any organization that looks for donations or looks for support, this community always steps up and comes through. It's really incredible.
I have to tell you a story. Do we have time for this really quick?
We got a couple minutes.
Okay, so I have a new puppy. I think I've told everybody that, but I dropped my new puppy off at Red Lantern Dog Training. And there was Hannah, the owner, her mom was telling me today how much she appreciates this community, because I don't know if you remember, in May there was a missing dog situation, right? And she said, I've never seen a community come together to look for a missing dog, and it was a big deal because this dog came from a puppy mill and she didn't really know how to dog, right? So she was very scared, and it was a tornado situation. And she said people were out with their drones, and they were for 3 days looking for this dog. She said, one dog. And everybody in this community was out looking for it and spreading the message and the whole thing. She said, there's something very special about this community. And I said, well, yes, there is. Yes, there is.
I agree. I agree. It's a special community.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up today's episode of Orion Today. I believe we'll be back in 2 weeks and continue some more fall fun. There's lots of fun stuff happening in the community with the Halloween extravaganza in downtown Lake Orion. It's just a couple of weeks away. Orion Township's Boo Bash, has moved over to the Great Lake Athletic Club. There's an upcoming Made in the Mitten craft show coming up, so there's going to be lots of stuff happening over the next several weeks that we'll talk about on our next episode of Orion Today. And Kim, thanks for joining me once again on the set.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Orion Today.